Creating lexicographic data also involves making decisions about potential users, especially about their characteristics and specific needs. This typically leads to the creation of a user profile, which typically refers to a description of the intending audience for reference works and their needs, knowledge and expectations. The creation of a user profile typically starts investigating potential user needs. There are three main methods for investigating these needs. These three methods are analyzing dictionary use, secondly, reflecting on potential user needs, introspection and deduction, and finally, using a combination of empirical data and introspection and deduction. In this lesson, I will refer on the first of them, on analyzing dictionary use. And this means studying how people use reference works in real-life situations. It looks at what users do with reference works. There are 5 main methods of analyzing dictionary use. These 5 methods are surveys, interviews, observations, protocols, and log files. Let's go to start with surveys. Surveys involve designing and distributing or asking a set of questions to individuals or a group of individuals to gather information about their habits, preferences, and experiences with reference works. Their goal then is to collect data that can provide insights into how users utilize reference works, what users' needs are, how users browse and interact with reference tools, in sum, to get knowledge about their habits of reference works. Surveys adhere to well-known protocols, and protocols are systematic plans or sets of guidelines that researchers follow to conduct their studies. Here is a list of guidelines you can follow to create your questionnaire surveys. 1. Define goals and objectives. For example, by asking questions related with frequency of use, motivation, behaviors, expectations, preferred types of reference works, purpose for consultation, challenges faced when consultation, etc. 2. Review literature on dictionary use. This will provide information to identify gaps in knowledge, which will help to devise more precise research questions. 3. Detail procedures for ensuring the quality and reliability of the data obtained. 4. Specify how the target audience will be identified. For example, identifying demographic characteristics of the respondents, such as age, language proficiency, educational background, etc. 5. Design the questions and align them with the research goals and objectives. The questionnaire survey must be clear, concise, and unambiguous. 6. Prepare and conduct a pilot test before distributing the survey on a wider basis. This will allow you to identify any potential issues with questions, clarity, referred, format, length, etc. The feedback obtained from the pilot study should be used to refine the questionnaire survey. 7. Decide on survey administration, typically if the questionnaire will be online or in person. 8. Plan how the collected data will be analyzed. 9. Adhere to ethical guidelines, in general by obtaining informed consent from participants and maintain their confidentiality. And 10. Compile the results and analyze them. For instance, I'm going to give you some specific questions that can be used for creating surveys on analyzing the use of reference words. One question is, how often do you consult reference works? Another question is, do you need more examples, clearer definitions, multimedia support? Another question, do you use print, digital apps, or online platforms? Another question, in which context do you most often use reference works? Another question could be, do you consult reference word for quick spelling checks, for meaning exploration finding, for finding synonyms, antonyms, for checking pronunciation, for exploring grammar information, for seeing word usage samples or language learning? Another question can be, how do you usually search for information in a reference tool? For example, do you type in the search box? Do you use voice search? Do you refer to it alphabetically browsing or scrolling? Do you link with entries, etc.? Another question could be, what features are most important to you in a reference tool? For example, do you prefer clarity of definitions? Do you need more examples? Do you prefer or do you focus on audio pronunciation? Do you search for the etymology of word history? Do you go for cross-references, for related words, for collocations, etc.? Do you search for multilingual support, etc.? Another question could be, what additional features would you like in a reference works? For example, would you like more visuals, more images, more infographics, or would you like more examples in context, or better mobile usability systems, or would you prefer integration with learning tools, with quizzes, exercises, or would you prefer something else? Please specify them. Another question could be, how satisfied are you with the reference words you currently use? But the question of surveys has been investigated, and there are a number of scholars such as Hotherell, Vigand, Nessie, Walker, Tarp, and Fuertes, Olivera and Tarp, among others, who have criticized surveys on several fronts, specifically on these fronts. 1. Surveys rely on users' ability to explain their consultation behavior. This is debatable because participants might not recall their specific experiences with dictionaries. 2. Users may be aware that they experience a need, but may be unaware of its specific nature. 3. Participants may provide answers that they perceive as socially desirable or acceptable, rather than actual behavior or preferences. 4. Surveys often provide a limited context for participants to explain their responses. 5. Surveys tend to steer users toward uncharacteristic patterns of use, for example, by asking them the order of their consultation. In a new lesson, I will analyze the use of interviews for analyzing dictionary use. Thank you.